You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 12th special meeting for the LaPorte County Board of Zoning Appeals. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. I'm going to call the May 12th meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals to order. If you would, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Volz, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Attorney Volz. Could I get a roll call, please?
Melissa Mischke,
Here.
Tony Oss,
Here.
Eric Poynton,
Here.
Jeff Baltes,
Here.
Ernie Schmidt.
Here.
Have a quorum.
Thank you, and I want to welcome Tony to his first meeting.
Thank you.
They say they can't hear in the back. Can you turn it up at all, or? So she says we need to be quieter as an audience, and I'll get closer to the mic and see if we can get it louder back there. Is this better?
Gonna hit a button.
Okay, so tonight we do have some changes to the agenda. For those of you that are here for petition number 2, which is a special exception for Yellowstone Solar Project LLC, represented by their counsel Christopher Willoughby, for construction and operation of a commercial large-scale ground-mounted solar energy system. That petition is going to be postponed by the petitioner until the June meeting. So if you're here for that petition, I apologize that you came out, but the petitioner has chosen to wait until the June meeting. So if you're here for just that petition and you'd like to leave, I'll give you a couple minutes so that we can continue on with our meeting.
What day will that be in June?
Let me take a look here.
Third Tuesday, whatever that is.
June 16th at 6 p.m. June 16th, 1/6 at 6 p.m. in the same place.
Same time.
Okay, and if you guys can please move quickly, we do have a big full agenda tonight, and I appreciate it.
A new agenda.
Are there any other modifications
Yeah,
that
two.
we're aware of for the agenda?
Perfect.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank
So I will entertain a motion for petition number 1 to be removed from the table.
Petition 2.
Oh,
Number 2.
No, 1.
petition number 1
I'll make
is,
a motion to remove,
it was tabled from
remove from
a previous
petition
meeting.
1 from the table.
All right, I have a motion,
Second.
a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, petition number 1 is a petition to rescind the use variance and appeal of enforcement decision by the Legacy Corporation and Legacy Lane LLC, asking the BZA to rescind a use variance granted on August 19th, 2025 in favor of Premier Real Estate Development LLC. What? RJ's Boosted Performance LLC and TK Tire Repair LLC, collectively known as respondents, on real estate located at 305 West Johnson Road, LaPorte, 46350, Center Township, zoned R1B, on a total of 1.068 acres. So since this petition had been tabled, we've heard all the remonstrance. I know that as a board, we have received a lot of written remonstrance against this particular petition. So if you have questions about that remonstrance, you can visit the building commissioner's office and he will make it available for you. With that,
Madam President, notice is adequate.
thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the BZA. My name is Anthony Novak. I'm here tonight on behalf of Legacy Lane LLC and the Legacy Corporation. At your request, I am going to pare down my presentation tonight. So I apologize in advance for maybe it being a little disjointed on this last second notice, but I'm going to move through it just fine.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're here tonight asking for this previously approved variance to be rescinded. Ivan, if you can go to the second slide. Specifically, we're asking that the board review and determine, number one, that the use that exists today is not consistent with what was approved, and number two, that the business owners have failed to comply with numerous code requirements. As a result, you guys have the authority to rescind the variance. In your August 2025 hearing, the business owners represented that this was going to be a small boutique automotive repair shop focused on specialty vehicles. I believe that zoning boards have the right to rely on representations made by petitioners in front of you. You guys ultimately approved it based on those representations by a vote of 3-2. In the time since then, the business owners have unilaterally expanded, intensified, and materially changed their use to include outdoor storage of heavy equipment and commercial trucks, outdoor mechanical work, long-term storage of wrecked and inoperable vehicles, accumulation of debris, and operating beyond approved hours, all while ignoring numerous code requirements that need to be in place before they open for business and which need to be in place while conducting business. Here, the actual operation has materially departed from those representations and is no longer the approved small mechanic shop, but a substantially different, more intensive use. As a result, the property is no longer operating under the granted variance, but instead in violation of the zoning ordinance. We ask that you respectfully put a stop to this. By not taking action, we believe it sets a dangerous precedent. It lets others know that so long as you represent the right things in a public meeting and get approval, you can do whatever you want after that fact. So we're hoping that with this case, the board lets the public know to please make representations appropriately and do exactly what you say you're going to do. Next slide, please. We anticipate that the business owners are going to rely on the case Monroe County BZA versus Bedford Recycling, arguing that essentially we're taking a second bite of the apple here and asking that you guys simply reconsider your decision. Stated another way, we're just upset about the decision that was made in August. But let me be clear, we are not here asking you to reconsider that decision. Rather, we're alleging non-compliance since that time. We acknowledge that Bedford Recycling stands for the fact that absent change in circumstances, you cannot reconsider your decision. We recognize that the remedy at that point is judicial appeal, which we filed and which was dismissed on a technicality, but we are not simply here saying, please do it again. We are here saying they represented something to you, they're doing something completely different, they've been told time and time and time again what the issues are. I have literally previewed for them what needs to be done for me to not be up here to talk at all, and they still have yet to comply. And the BZA authority that we're going to be relying on here, there's kind of twofold. There's this Schlehuser versus City of Seymour, and there's also Article 26 and Article 28 of the BZA, which indicates that if the scope of a variance is exceeded, if conditions are not complied with, you guys have the ability to revoke. I will not hide anything. You guys have other ability as well. You can issue fines. You can red tag them and tell them to stop working. You can do a lot of things, but to simply let them go on without taking any action against their non-compliance, I believe is a slippery slope. And I'm going to kind of fast forward through a lot of this. If I could, Ivan, if I could actually have you go to slide 39.
Okay, so this one is June.
So just in the interest of time, and I know that you guys have driven by the property and seen it, and I know I submitted pictures with my application, which is on record. I'm going to skip through the numerous pictures which we believe show the numerous violations that exist at this property. And I won't stick on this picture, but that's just going to transition to my next part. We believe that the activities that are going on here align a little bit closer to a junk or salvage yard, and as a result is not complying with what was ultimately approved. We don't believe that these were incidental deviations from the small repair shop. We think it's been a fundamentally different land use altogether. Since the hearing in August, just to tell you real briefly what we've done, we are not just simply coming back up here trying to ask you guys to reverse your decision. We have communicated with Mr. Poland numerous times. We sent a letter in December of 2025 specifically detailing all of the violations that we believed exist. In talking with Mike, I recognize that this is a somewhat novel issue. I have asked Mike respectfully, issue fines, do something, and he has indicated that he's constrained by other obligations in his office, but also he would respectfully request that the BZA would be the one that would make the decision rather than him. While I respect that, I am honestly frustrated with that because I believe Mike has that authority and nothing is being done when there's all these other code-abiding property owners in the neighborhood. Ivan, if I could have you go to slide 41. As indicated, and I know we typically don't talk a lot about case law in front of you guys, but this is a very novel concept. The case that they're going to rely on is Bedford. In Bedford, essentially what happened is it was represented to the board that somebody was going to operate a scrap facility. The BZA ultimately approved that, and then there became opposition after that hearing. That BZA attorney indicated that he believed that he actually applied a wrong definition and that there was therefore an error of law. About 11 months later, that variance was revoked. No change in circumstances, no change in facts. The BZA attorney just simply said, hey, there was an error of law and therefore we need to revoke it. That case ultimately went up to the Supreme Court and they said that, hey, these guys had a vested right in the permit. You can't just simply have what's called the error of law exception, and that was ruled out. Our case, City of Seymour, is distinguishable. In this case, somebody actually went in front of the City of Seymour BZA, asked for a variance for an automotive use with a specific number of parking restrictions, and then continually operated beyond the scope of what was approved. The court held in that case that when there are clear conditions imposed upon a permit, when it is specifically said what the permit is going to be for and somebody operates beyond that scope, the BZA retains inherent authority to have the ability to enforce what they approved and to ultimately revoke that permit. Just a couple rebuttal arguments before I close this out. Some of the arguments that I know that the business owners are going to make is, number one, they're going to make substantial improvements to this property, but they haven't yet because there is litigation playing out. Respectfully, we've heard variations of that before. Yet despite those representation and despite the passage of approximately 9 months, things have not materially changed. And there's nothing in the code that indicates that while an appeal is pending or while a petition to revoke is pending, that somebody does not have the obligation to comply with code. And while they say they don't have to put in these code requirements, they simultaneously are taking the benefit of the permit and they're actually operating. Number two, that this is just simply a neighborhood dispute. I don't disagree that tensions are high. I know you guys have fielded a lot of questions, and I know that's very frustrating. But the frustration that I have here is not because of the interpersonal conflicts, but the fact that there are specific code requirements that need to comply, and if they were, this dispute wouldn't exist. Number three, you'll probably hear that there have been recent efforts to clean up the property and install a fence. It's my understanding that some of the heavy machinery that's been stored out there for months has just now been moved to another location upon information and belief of the owner of the property. But that does not show good faith. That just simply shows that when there is an imminent threat of revocation, that I'm finally going to take action. Otherwise, we don't have to comply. So in closing, this case is not about isolated code violation or minor condition issues. It's a question of whether the operation that you guys see today is exactly what was presented to you and what was approved. The approval was for a small boutique auto repair shop focused on controlled, indoor-oriented operation. What exists now is materially different. Outdoor storage of inoperable vehicles, accumulation of dismantled parts, heavy equipment and semi-truck storage, and yard-like use of the property. At some point, the use stops being a mechanic shop with issues and becomes an entirely different land use that was not presented in front of you. So we're past that point. We know that you have the authority to determine that the current operation exceeds the scope of the variance as granted, that there are numerous code violations, and we would respectfully ask that you would take enforcement authority up to and including revocation of the permit. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you again for condensing.
Happy to do it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So Attorney Willoughby, if you'd like to come forward, and I'm going to give you roughly the same amount of time. State your name and address for the record, please.
And I will make the same effort to
I do
condense.
appreciate it.
Christopher Willoughby, Brady Nelson, and Janes here tonight on behalf of the respondents. So I have the utmost respect for Mr. Novak.
We can't hear you.
But everything he said sounds good if you say it fast. And he did represent that we're getting into a little bit more of the legal arguments tonight than you normally have in terms of case law. But this is really a simple issue. They absolutely don't have any authority, and you don't have the authority based on their petition to revoke what was granted. Under the code, your duties, powers and duties are under section 2802, A through C. Under that, you don't have the authority to hear and consider Legacy's petition. You can hear appeals of an order, requirements, decisions, or determinations of your enforcement official, for instance. There has been no action taken. And what is conveniently left out here is Mr. Poland, and I believe he has done as well as he can, and I don't mean that to sound self-serving. I have the utmost respect for that office. I'm a straight shooter when my clients are wrong, but I also call things as they are. And this isn't novel. This is common, and he's taken a common sense approach to, hey, we know people weren't happy with this variance, and the harassment started from day one. Right here in this front row, after the variance was granted, walked outside, and there's a group headed by a couple sitting next to Commissioner Holyfield. And I said, hey, I know you're not happy with the result, but my clients, they're good young kids. They're going to do their best. They have Mr. Ake behind them. He's going to invest in them, and they're going to try to fit in this neighborhood and change your mind. And what I was told point blank right after that meeting, have no interest in meeting them, want to know nothing about them. It's continued. It continued tonight. I'm sparing you the video that, again, same neighbor who worked closely with the petitioners and have harassed my clients. And we have so many videos, multiple police reports, trespass from the property of harassment, pictures, sitting there with video, even before this meeting tonight, with somebody who was with the resident who represented to be a member of the BZA. We're going to get to deal with that a different day because he is a member of a BZA of another city. So again, this harassment, when we talk about what responsibilities are, absolutely the code applies. You have a business, you're supposed to abide. The code sets forth what should happen. Our variance was granted for a small mechanic shop. Nobody's arguing that. But we're not here tonight on any legal basis where you have any authority to revoke it. Could you in the future under the code? Yes, you could. Cases cited by Mr. Novak, I disagree with his application, but he did use one key word, but didn't elaborate. Revoked based on the violation of a condition. And those are the two things that you could revoke this variance on is at a future date, when there's notice, and you find violations and you order Mr. Poland or other designees to investigate, and they come back to you and report, and then we get notice and we get orders to comply, and there's a stop work order, and there's a finding that we have violated a condition or a written commitment. There are no written commitments. We didn't have any of those. There were two conditions on the variance: business hours and the LED sign. Business hours, they're not defined anywhere, but we all commonly know what that means: open to the public. If we were to say you can't be there on the property at all, no restaurant could make sauce, prep, cut veggies before business. It's ludicrous, but here we are fighting, and yes, things need to get done there, but right away, harassment. Then we get notice that they appeal the decision. We go through the court dance. We prevail there. They're still not happy. Here we are. Now, your worst nightmare, I imagine, is having a Hatfields and McCoy decision, right? We didn't get 100% of the votes up there. And some of you likely felt, we don't want to create this. We know what's going to happen. Some of you might predict, here we are. But it's also your duty to follow the law. They want to appeal a decision, but the code under Section 26, Administration and Enforcement, 2604 talks about penalties. Mr. Novak cited that. Penalties can be imposed by you or your enforcement official, except it says may be imposed. Under Section 2606, enforcement by injunction or other legal action, may pursue that. Under Section 3101, construction of language, subsection B, may is defined, those are your definition sections under the JZO. May is permissive. Case law says that they cannot challenge a permissive discretionary act. Whether there is or isn't a violation hasn't even been determined yet. And under the code, there is a provision that says you could revoke us. Under Section 2812, subsection C, upon the issuance of a stop work order by the BZA or its designated representative. Upon, meaning if. We've never gotten there. We've not even saying the chance, I understand the spin that might be put on that. Well, you've had 9 months. We have 9 months of chaos. Has their business grown? Yes. Just because there's bigger vehicles. TK's is a truck business. Just because there's big trucks doesn't mean there's big repairs going on. But the pictures, they represent to you what they think they mean, but nobody's been there to see what's going on. We don't have any stop work orders. We don't have any fines. We do have a business that's thriving. Do they need to fit in that neighborhood? Absolutely. Do they intend to? Yes. But there's nothing to appeal or overturn from Mr. Poland because he hasn't made any decision. He hasn't issued any fines or made a finding that there isn't a violation. And everything that is in here that they want him to do is discretionary. And the same with you. Again, do I believe that you have the power to make findings? Yes, at a future date when there's due process and you make findings and there's a stop work order, but we're not there. Not by a long shot. Small mechanics business, it's not defined, and Mr. Novak points that out in his summary. But generally, under the North American Industry Classification System, that's used by federal agencies to classify entities, to gather data, to ultimately in analyzing and organizing economic stats. A small mechanic business is what they are. They're nothing more, nothing less than what's going to be there. Lastly, I want to wrap up with this. They are taking a second bite at the apple. The cases cited are very clear that you are a quasi-judicial body that has the ability to make a decision under specific rules, and you're a creature of the Indiana Code and then subsequently the JZO. And those rules are what control. After you make your decision, you no longer have the authority to revoke or overturn, despite if our clients told you they were going to have a small mechanic shop and they decided to have a jet engine repair shop with huge noise, it changes the character of it, but we're in violation, right? Stop work order land in fines, written violations, and that is the process that we would have to go through, not revocation. That's court action. Injunctions. Not that we want to get there. That doesn't benefit anybody to spend the public's money on litigation. What will benefit is having the opportunity to move forward with what was granted and stop the harassment. So in summary here, the petitioner has no standing for this revocation. That's your prerogative at a future date for all the reasons I've said. There's no decisions for Mr. Poland or his office to appeal. Due process is the thing here. Due process is important, and just because they kick and scream and they file something before you and they file some voluminous report and have all these pictures. It has no bearing on what your ultimate decision should be. There were no commitments, only 2 conditions. Those haven't been violated. There's no determinations by Mr. Poland's office there's been any violations, and those are the only 2 violations that would even then get you to the point where you could revoke that variance. There's been no complaints of noise. It's simply aesthetics, and I find it comical because Legacy Corporation, their other development is just down the street, and right across from that is what is a true salvage yard. There's no complaints about that. It's because they've never wanted this, and they don't, and they've continued to harass, so much so that some things are going to have to get addressed civilly outside of this. That's outside of your purview. That's not a veiled threat. It's come to that point. Nonetheless, these young business owners deserve the opportunity to succeed. They've built a good business, and they need to comply. There's no arguing that. But today's not the day for the relief that they seek.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Questions from the board?
Which side?
Yes, who would you, if we have questions from Attorney Novak, let's go ahead and ask him first. Anthony, do you feel, with all of the information you've been provided, that harassment is indeed what's going on there? And the reason I ask is because I'm made aware of 2 times the police have been called to that location when I talked with the sheriff's department, and a 3rd today, in fact. I'm not going to get into the nature of those calls, but are they harassment in nature?
Respectfully, I'm not involved in any of that. So, like, I don't want to be speculative here. Like,
Okay.
I'm not doing this.
Your clients have not indicated.
I've not had specific conversations with them. Again, I don't disagree that there's been conflict, but I am not involved in that. I don't direct that. I have one job to do. I think
Very
there's a
good.
legal basis. I'm here to do
I
it.
apologize.
I apologize on behalf of people that you guys got to listen to that bullshit. But, like, I just get it. There's a lot of tension there.
Absolutely.
That's unresolved.
Okay. Do we have questions from Attorney Novak? Eric?
I don't have a whole lot of questions for you. I mean, I'm sick of both sides. I'll be completely honest here. The amount of emails and BS that we have done with on, I don't want to see another picture ever again of this facility from anyone in an email or a presentation. This has gotten out of hand.
Questions?
Yeah. So I don't really have any more questions for you, no, other than I
have
guess
any questions?
piggyback on her harassment one because I do have that wrote down.
Any questions?
I don't really have anything.
No questions. Okay, do we have questions for Attorney Willoughby? I do. I feel like the verbal representation that was made to us by, I believe, this young lady with the dark hair is definitely not what is going on when they applied for the variance in the first place. I don't have the minutes in front of me, but it was something to the effect of small, high-end mechanic shop and auto detailing. I think that's,
And a mobile service truck that
Yes.
would not be there working on big equipment there. It was going to be mobile. I do remember that.
so what I think the petition as it was originally granted is not the same one we're looking at today. Certainly it has the use of it is not the same. I drive by there all the time. It's a eyesore. It would be an understatement, in my opinion. I would not want to live there. And I also, you mentioned in your presentation that they have to fit into the neighborhood. I don't think that by expanding and having large trucks is making an effort to fit into the neighborhood. And that's probably all I'm going to say as far as how I'm going to decide on this. We're going to vote the way we're going to vote, and then we'll see what happens. I also feel like this is one of those areas where maybe the Board of Commissioners needs to look at it. If the people want this enforced, then we need an enforcement mechanism in place to do that. And that's not going to be done by this board.
Do you want me to respond to any of that?
No, unless you have a response that doesn't sound, I mean, you were not with us on the initial petition of variance of use.
I was here.
Yeah, he was here.
I was present.
Do you know can you tell us what the criteria were for that business?
As presented or what was
Presented.
approved? Yeah, it was the high end. It was mobile trucks, mostly on the road. I don't have the same recollection as Mr. Poynton, but I can concede this because I believe that's important too. That business has grown exponentially, which on the one hand is a good thing for young business, and on the other hand, we need to fit in. However, that is not revocation worries, the insinuation that there was a misrepresentation, that simply didn't happen. However, those are potentially, if you're outside of the code, where your enforcement official investigates that and writes warnings and fines or stop work orders if something's outside of that. But you don't have the authority. And as I say that, I don't wave that flag as if that is, hey, they need to fit in. And we've had that discussion, if I'm being frank. I've been very frank with these guys of you got to fit in. And that'll be the same discussion later tonight and the next day. They have to fit in, and everybody has to find a way to get along. Thank you.
I agree.
I have a question. Chris, can I ask you one question?
Sorry.
That's okay. So I had to catch up. I wasn't here in August. So I went back and I read the minutes. And in the minutes and in the meeting, you stated that if they didn't comply with the JZO, that we had the authority under 1405 to revoke the approval. So do we still have that authority under
I
1405?
think that's going to be a question for our legal representation.
But I will address my comment of the thinking.
Does he still feel that we have that?
We're getting to the same, you have the ability to revoke it if there's a stop work order and there's a violation. So just because the transcript, that's addressing it, but the points that I was making, those are the sections that it comes from, that if there's a violation of a condition or a commitment, then it can be revoked upon the issuance of a stop work order by your enforcement official. So I do stand behind that. But the point is, what fits in there, and the nuance from my perspective is there's two conditions and no commitments, business hours and the like. But I also don't want to gloss over. They have to fit in. So to answer your question, I agree with it.
Okay.
If
One more. Just
Yes, sir.
bear with me here.
Yeah.
There's multiple definitions in the JZO. There's major automotive repair, and then there is minor automotive repair, which is what I believe was represented in August, but again, I wasn't here. There's also repair non-automotive, which I think is what I feel like when I've driven by the site is what this is sort of creeped into. It's non-automotive repair. Non-automotive repair is a different classification in the JZO versus cars. Is what going on? What is going on there? Is it non-automotive repair? It's some of it non-automotive and some automotive, or?
Well, it's truck repairs. It's exactly what was represented in terms. So the issue becomes.
There's a lot of wood chippers and. That's what I'm asking. Automotive to me means a vehicle that's licensed. Excavators but if it's a Bobcat being welded on in the parking lot, or if it's wood chippers that are waiting, or a bucket truck or a bucket. I'm not. Excuse me. That's what I'm asking. Is there non-automotive repair occurring there?
We believe that it all fits. There are things besides cars getting repaired there that are part of their business, so yes.
Okay.
However, those again are, if we're outside of that, those are fines, warnings, et cetera, not worthy of a revocation.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Volz, do you have any
Direction?
anything you'd like to advise us?
What I would say is that Article 26 certainly does provide the ability of the LaPorte County Board of Zoning Appeals for administration and enforcement of actions that were entered into pursuant to the joint zoning ordinance. And it does specifically provide for enforcement by injunction. It also allows then to go back to section 1405, if specific terms and conditions or characteristics are not adhered to, it provides for enforcement of that. However, again, based upon the petition in which it was presented and approved, this seems to be outside of the scope of that original petition. And then the granting of the use variance based upon those specific terms and conditions. My understanding is that the original the original use variance did have, at a bare minimum, 2 conditions that have not been met, number 1. But then number 2, there were other issues with regards to other sections of the JZO that were included within that. For example, again, specifically, section 1405C referencing vehicle service stations and truck stops with the specific conditions that must be met. For example, all vehicle service and repair shall comply with section 1405A above. And it discusses with regards to the storage and display. So these were all incorporated into, and it appears based upon the evidence that is presented that, again, this is something that you can hear to determine whether or not that permit was properly granted, and then what your action can be then moving forward from that.
So an outcome this evening, we could make a motion to have the enforcement of the original variance.
It is my opinion, based upon the reading of the JZO and then the reading of the case law that was submitted, that certainly is within the scope of power and authority of a Board of Zoning Appeals that conducts business in the manner that the LaPorte County Board of Zoning Appeals does. Unfortunately, this is not unique to LaPorte County. Whereas the facts and circumstances contained in the 2 cases that were mentioned are rather far afield. It's not an apples and oranges comparison, because there are terms and conditions with all use variances that are granted. So with that being said, that is an avenue that the BZA can pursue.
Does that make sense to you guys? Does that make sense to you guys? Do you have any questions on that?
So we need to, I guess I am a little confused. So we can make a ruling, or we need to go through Mike's office and
We would need to have a motion to direct.
There is a petition that is before you at this point, and it needs to be determined how the board wants to proceed based upon the specific terms that are contained within the petition. Now, if you want to go outside that, certainly that's your authority and ability to as well. But again, the petition before you this evening is to rescind the use variance and appeal of enforcement decision of the previously issued variance that was issued by this board back in August of last year.
Deny the revenue.
That's what you're determining here today. And if you move outside of that determination, those can be conditions as related to what you determine your cause of action or your action will be this evening.
I think we do.
Madam President, I would just add to that by saying that I believe your decision can be twofold. It's not just voting on whether to rescind the variance, but it can be to vote to direct me to take specific enforcement action. And I would add that the reason that enforcement action hasn't been taken yet is not because I believe there isn't violations. It's because I have stayed my actions pending all of the legal
Sure.
mumbo jumbo that's going on, the appeal, then the weather, then trying to get surveyors, and then we lost our attorney, and we've had multiple continuances. There's a lot of factors that have gone into that.
Right.
Having said that, this cannot go on.
I agree.
The way that it has been going on, and the hammer's coming down one way or the other, whether it's from this BZA or whether it's
And it
council and I after the
It
fact.
is a problem on both sides. I am so, I don't even know, disappointed in our population that this kind of action is what goes on. Based on the emails and the photos and the videos I've seen, it's absolutely ridiculous. So with that, I do think that the automotive business was misrepresented in the initial meeting. And quite frankly, I think every person who signed that petition needs to be holding you accountable to that. I know I can recall a handful of names that were on that petition in your favor, and if I were one of them that was voting and giving my support to you, I'd be calling you in and saying, you need to toe the line. So with that, I'm going to entertain a motion, and I hope it includes to direct Mike's office to take some action.
Gotta frame this.
Yeah,
I can step down from chairperson. I make a motion that we direct the building commissioner's office to take appropriate enforcement action on the hours of operation or any other items that are stipulated in the original use variance.
I'll second that.
We have some discussion.
Generally,
You have a motion and a second, so there may
motion and a
be
second, so we-
discussion, yes.
Is there a mechanism then to revisit this, or where we come back after that? Or is
Yes.
this is a?
So
it's a
I can
direction
amend my
for Mike to begin
motion. I can
enforcing
amend my
that?
motion to include that you report back to us in the July meeting, the progress. Does that sound like enough time? 60 days?
I would be interested in hearing from the petitioner as to how long they need to comply. 60
Okay, well,
days, 90 days, whatever.
that's going to be part of your communication with them and enforcement.
Okay.
So will you have information for us in 60 days?
I can. We, after this is taken,
We allow him
We're
to.
allowing Mr. Pullen the discretion, we're authorizing and asking him to begin an enforcement action with discretion to levy fines, subject to
Yep.
his judgment on progress being made towards compliance, with due back to report in 60 days. Does that seem fair?
sure.
Did I make that wordy enough for you, Andrew?
Okay, so I say yes to amending my motion. Are you good with your second, with the amended
Yes,
motion?
I'm good, yeah.
Okay, so
Madam President, just for purposes of the record here at this point, can you please restate what your motion is verbatim?
no. I will do my best.
Do it.
So I am stepping down, and I am going to make a motion that we direct the building commissioner's office to use his discretion to levy fines and any enforcement of issues that were not being complied with from the initial use variance, and to report back to this board in 60 days. Progress.
Second.
I would also like to include issues regarding, you said the use variance, but also regarding noncompliance with the rest of the JZO.
Thank you.
I'll still second that.
Okay. We're good? So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Ernie, did you vote?
No.
Okay. The motion carries 4-1.
Thank you, Madam President. I will meet with our legal counsel right away. We will determine appropriate course of action, and both of us will have a report back for you on this case in 60 days.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay. I have 5 agendas here, so hold on.
We were not told the number of votes.
1. There is 1 opposed.
Okay.
So if everyone that was here for petition number 1, if anybody would like to leave, now is your time. I'm going to ask you to do that quickly so that we can continue with our agenda. Where is my agenda? So who is second?
You want this one?
Yeah.
So before, this is,
Okay, the next petition is petition for variance of developmental standards for Timothy and Catherine Kawasan for construction of a detached garage 4 feet from the side of the property instead of the minimum required 10 feet. The new garage size is 19 feet 5 inches by 35 feet 9 inches at 120 Judson Road, Center Township, zoned R1B. And I will need a motion to remove this from the table.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
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 Good evening. Would you state your name and
Notice is adequate.
address for the record, please?
Good evening. Timothy Kawasan, 120 Judson Road.
Timothy, I feel like we've started this already. So explain to us again, what is the need that you feel you need to alter the setbacks?
I'm trying to make a larger garage so I could park 2 vehicles in it. I lost the garage Thanksgiving to a fire.
Right.
Got the neighbor here that also built the garage 4 feet off the setback. Just trying to match his setback.
Do we have any remonstrators tonight for this petition? Is there anybody for or against? Petition number 3. Okay. Would you have a seat? I have a gentleman in the back. Good evening.
Evening.
Would you state your name and address?
Robert Betcher, 116 Judson Road.
And just for me, is that next door?
Yes.
Okay. What are your issues or concerns?
I have no concerns. I think it should be able to build it.
Very good.
I petitioned this board, I guess, 9 years ago, and they granted me permission to, I have nothing against it.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Are you the adjacent neighbor?
Yes.
To the garage? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How far is your setback off the property line?
I think it's 8.
I think it's 4 feet.
4 feet, yeah.
Is it 4 feet?
Yeah. Same as what he has.
How much damage did you receive into your building from the fire?
I had to replace my trusses in one wall and the garage door overhead.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other remonstrators? Okay. Seeing and hearing none. Tim, if you'd like to come back up. Questions from the board?
Why did we table this again? I remember there was something, it was a legal thing, I remember.
I can speak to that. There were 2 issues that I can recall. One was that there was a legal drain on a map, and we needed to clarify that. That's been worked out and clarified, not a problem. The other one was one of the board members asked our previous attorney about buildings being less than 10 feet apart in the zoning code. That is not in the zoning code. It is in the building code, and that can be addressed by firewalls. So what you're considering is the setback.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we approve this, working with Mike's office to do any amendments to fire code or anything that needs to be done.
Okay, I had spoke with the inspector, David Schuman, and he said if there's no dwelling and it's 2 garages side by side and there'll be no windows, that there'd be no need for a firewall.
That's not up to me, that's
That's
Mike's
up to
Whatever the
office.
building
You're
department
gonna-
says.
Yeah, I have,
Call him and, okay.
We'll take care of that part offline.
yeah, we
Very
have a
good.
motion, so.
I'll second his motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the setbacks. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign.
No.
Aye. So 2 noes. Okay. Good luck. Make sure you work with the building commissioner's office. Okay. Petition number 4 this evening is a petition for special exception for Stephen Valich to keep 2 horses on less than 3 acres. The property is located at 4952 South Range Road, LaPorte, zoned R1B, on 2.319 acres.
Hello.
Good evening.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. If you would, please state your name and address for the record.
Stephen Velich, 4952 South Range Road.
Stephen, do you already have the horses there?
It's hers. She has one that's currently boarded in South Bend.
Okay. Would you state your name and address for the record too, please?
Jalen Beasley, 4952 South Range Road.
All right. So the second horse is coming from another location?
We'll be looking for a second just because they're herd animals and I don't want her alone.
Sure.
This is this property.
Okay.
I can't just bring this some pictures and we give that.
I apologize. Would one of you approach and identify the parcel just because it's a black and white and we're having,
Is this one right here with, that's the barn and the lean-to.
okay. So they've indicated 4952 is the address on our map here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any remonstrators tonight for this petition? Anybody in favor or against? Any remonstrators? Okay. Hearing and seeing none? Hearing and seeing none. What kind of questions do we have as a board?
The first question I have, Mr. Volz, this is an R1B, right? So I don't, they're asking for horses in an R1B zoned area?
Is it the amount per acreage?
Well, an R1B, so under 1402C1, whatever, it's an R1B, if you have less than 3 acres, it's not permitted. So in an agricultural district, it's allowed by special exception. So a special exception here is not, I don't know if that's the appropriate way. This becomes a different standard, I would think, right? Is this a use variance then? Or a developmental standard? Just trying to be clear. It's interesting. It's an interesting part of the JZO because in an agriculturally zoned district, it says it's special exception is permitted but must still meet requirements, blah, blah, blah. But then under R1B, it says less than 3 acres not permitted for horses.
So I would say it's still a special exception.
Mr. Ross, one moment, please.
Yeah, but it's special, it has to be, to meet the standard of special exception, it has to be allowed by special exception.
No hurry, Attorney Volz. No hurry, we're all just staring at you.
Well, I mean, again, the JZO specifically under section 1402C, keeping horses and livestock, it does indicate zoning district under R1B, less than 3 acres not permitted. However, ag districts, it does show then special exceptions and then permitted, no limit, and then 3 acres or more, and I mean,
Then there's then the standard below the.
Permitted but must still meet the requirements of subsection 2.
Right, which is the acreage limits, 1 acre
Right.
per.
And
So then they run into that too.
yeah, and again, I mean, we're talking about what has been defined by the petition as 2.319 acres. So that is below 3 acres.
Right.
Now, with that being said, it would be my position that the board needs to table this. And I hate to say that for another month, but the reality is here that
Sorry.
the letter of the law is not complying with what I believe the spirit of the law is. And so I'm going to look back and see what previous board decisions were with acreage less than 3 acres, obviously, because, I mean, it does
It's
specifically.
just tricky because it's in R1B. If it was zoned A, it'd be fine.
If it was zoned ag, it would be completely different, and then that may be an avenue to pursue potentially, but again, I don't want to get into speculation here as far as the remedy for this, but I need to look into it, so I would ask that this be tabled for a month.
I'll make a motion, we table this until, we said the June 16th
16th.
meeting to allow our attorney to.
I have a motion and a second. to postpone until the June meeting. You guys are good with that?
We've waited this long.
I'm so sorry. All those
Thank
in
you.
favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign.
So does this help if all of the neighbors around that area I can bring that have less than 3 acres that keep horses at their property?
I think if you want to work,
I tell you what, no, I mean, I don't want to go on the record with any of this or whatever else, but if you can provide your contact information directly, if we don't already have it, I'll get in touch with you and then we can go from there. Okay.
I think that's appropriate. Thank you. All right, petition number 5 this evening is a petition for variance of developmental standards for Brett Waldo for placement of an enclosed 60 by 30 carport and no more than 6 shipping containers. Access by legal easement, no road frontage. Property is located at 7808 South First Line Road, LaPorte, Washington Township, zoned M2 on 18.227 acres. If you would come forward, please.
Sir. Thanks a lot, Mike. You're doing a great job, buddy. I appreciate you.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. If you would, please state your name and address for the record.
Brett Waldo.
And if you get right into that microphone, they can hear you in the back.
Okay. Right now, I'm staying at my daughter's house, so I think it's, I'd have to get my wallet.
Okay.
It's down in North Judson, San Pierre area. If I can find the doggone thing.
While you're looking for that address, do you own the property?
Oh, yeah, it's been paid off for 20 years.
Okay.
I've had it for 23 years, and I was living in Chesterton, never missed any payments on anything. I think my...
So is there an actual home on the property currently?
No, there is not, and I've had it for so long, and I've made some movements recently, going from one house, just moving, and the reason why I wanted to I was thinking more on the lines of the six boxes, because they could be moved when I needed them to.
Okay.
Because
So you want to use the 6 storage containers
Yeah.
for housing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for stuff that I've had. I was a contractor for 30 years, and
So Brett, you just are going to store items in the storage containers.
Yeah,
You're not
thanks.
going to reside here.
no, I'm not going to reside here.
Okay. What is the carport use then?
No, I don't need the carport. I want to be able to move them in the boxes when I need to move, or when I decide to move it to one location.
So you don't want the placement of an enclosed 30 by 60 carport?
So the Connex boxes would work.
Okay.
Perfect. It's just storage and I've had it there forever, and I just thought I'd put my stuff there, and I got a lot of storage fees that I'm trying to get out of.
Sure.
And I'm to the age where I want to just not be putting my money into someplace where I could put it.
Okay. Do we have any remonstrators for this petition tonight? Anybody for or against? Looks like we do have one. He's eager. So if you'll have a seat, we'll hear what he has to say. Can you state your name and address for the record?
Yes, this is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. I'm a Michigan City man. We also have my family's estate property at 77 to 33 West, 125 North, Wozniak Road, and 125 North, right across the Maplewood subdivision. It's been in my family for 30 2-3 years now where we've been, so I know a little bit about county life. I just want to say I'm against shipping containers. I think they're a blight. We got an ordinance in Michigan City. The shipping containers should only be in areas that are zoned industrial. We got one in Michigan City right there at Dunes Plaza next to the Office Max building. I've been complaining about that. I think you'll go to other counties, go down to like Hamilton County. You don't see shipping containers on all the properties down there. I got one about a half a mile up from my mom's. I don't think he ever got a variance to have a shipping container on his property. No shipping containers. To me, it's more I've never seen the Wozniak Road Corridor looking more worse the whole time we've been there. It's just horrible. You got all the dilapidated outbuildings, grain silos, farmhouses. We have Indiana's unsafe building law to consider. It's just horrible. The guy's too cheap to build a poor, but he sounds like one of these people you see when you watch the TV show.
Madam President, I need to interrupt. We will not entertain personal attacks.
Thank you.
And for the record, the property is zoned M2.
Okay. Right, if you would like to come back up, please, and we'll
It's supposed to be an accessory.
see what else you have.
Industrial use, yeah.
That's it.
Okay, so you're just going to store items out there?
Yeah, things that I've got all over like I said, I was a contractor, and I've been putting stuff in storage storage places.
So when you go to, is there going to be storage outside of these containers?
No, nothing.
Nothing outside of it, just in it?
And it's going to get moved probably 2-3 years. I don't know for sure, but that's what my plan is.
How long are you projecting to keep these there? How long do you want to keep them?
3 years.
Is that what you just said? Sorry, I was trying to read this JZO.
Sorry.
Do you guys have questions?
So an industrial area, it says that you can have them, but it has to be within, for an active business. And since it's not an active, or an accessory
It has to be
to.
accessory to an active industrial use. That's what the JZO says.
Right,
in its
and he's just
verbiage,
doing
but
storage.
Can we are we at the point of discussion here, or are we still questioning? Discussion?
Yeah,
Whatever Melissa says.
Whatever Melissa said.
go ahead.
I'm just asking if we can set timing conditions, right?
Absolutely. And I would encourage it.
So according to the JZO, if it was an active business, he wouldn't even have to apply for
Your
it.
mic, you
Microphone.
need to
Oh,
talk
sorry.
into it.
If it was an active
Okay,
business,
but-
he wouldn't even have to apply for a
Correct.
variance.
Like, that's the way it reads to me, yeah.
Correct.
In an industrial zoned area.
Right.
Which it
It
is.
would have to be an industrial zoned area.
Might get crowded down there on First Line Road. Do we have any further questions? If not, I'm going to entertain a motion.
I can't make all the motions here.
Well, I can't step down and make any more.
I'll make a motion to allow the use of 6 storage containers on the site for no more than, I guess, what'd you say, 3 years?
3 years. Yeah.
3 years, have to return after 3 years to continue use. At that point, it just get reevaluated.
And you have to work with Mike's office because he has there's actually
They have to be on a foundation
Yes.
and anchored down.
Yes.
Oh, they do?
yes.
They do.
So you'll have to still talk to Mike's
That's the reason why I
office.
wanted to do the,
So we're going to decide on the variants, if you can put them out there, and we might give you the stipulation on the number of years. The rest you're going to work with Mr. Poland's office. If you can't meet his criteria, he won't give you a permit.
okay,
Okay, so they're kind of the same, only
all right.
different parts of the scenario. So I have a motion
I'll second that.
on the floor for approval with 3 years renewable, potentially, and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign.
No.
Thank you.
Congratulations, good luck, and make sure you get with the building commissioner's office.
I'll stop in.
Petition number 6 this evening is a petition for variance of developmental standards for Daniel J. and Lana Ford for construction of a shed 8 feet from the side and rear property lines instead of the minimum 10 feet required. Property is located at 2976 North Horseshoe Bend, LaPorte, Center Township, zoned R1B.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good
If you
evening.
guys would please state your name and address for the record.
Daniel Ford,
Lana Ford.
and we reside at 2976 North Horseshoe Bend
Okay.
here in LaPorte.
Feel free to bring that mic down so we can hear you a
Okay.
little bit better. And what is unique to your property that's going to require the side setback changes?
Well, we would like to have a shed in our backyard, and we'd like to use an existing concrete pad as the foundation for the shed. Ideally, the structure would be centered on the pad, just for structural integrity. And that would be 8 feet, because it's 20 foot wide and the shed's 16 feet. So I don't have much room to play with side to side. So I'd just like to balance it out.
Okay.
And I don't know, I don't think that, it's going to harm any of the neighbors or degrade from the neighborhood or cause any health or safety issues, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Do we have any remonstrators this evening for this petition? Anybody for or against it? You're shaking your head no. Are you for or against it?
No.
Okay, very good. It's kind of like an auction back here. All right, any remonstrators in favor or against? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Questions from the board?
I'll make a motion.
Structure there
Sorry.
before?
No, sir, no.
The mic.
Okay.
It was a basketball court, but I don't play basketball anymore. So.
Thank you.
So if we were to grant this variance, you would work with the building commissioner's office to meet all the requirements for a permit?
I've already done that, yeah, I
Okay.
have my permit, and, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve this.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Aye.
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. 3-2. Petition for variance of developmental standards for Gene Coulter Seller and Dana Miller Buyer for constructing a home and a barn on a 1-acre lot with no road frontage. Access to the lot will be from Granite Drive and not part of the subdivision. Property is located next to or east of 9441 West Granite Drive, Westville, New Durham Township, zoned ag on 62.177 acres.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. If you would, please state your names and addresses for the record. Make sure you get in the microphone. So
Hi there.
you need to move it.
Dana Miller, address 5677 South US Highway 421, Westville, Indiana 46391.
Blake Miller, same address.
Okay. So, no road frontage.
It's, her family owned the property, and it was originally going to be a cul-de-sac back there. That plan has dissipated, obviously, now. So there is a gravel area there that we can access into. You can kind of see it on the site map that we gave you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Shows there, it's dedicated.
You're okay.
Yeah.
Are there, to your knowledge, are there plans to improve past that cul-de-sac?
No.
Okay. Was it part of the original plat?
Yes, it has all been dissipated, and everything behind is still farmland owned by the Coulters still.
Right.
And they don't plan on developing any of it.
Who owns that cul-de-sac? It looks like the
It's
county does.
still,
Part of the county and Beacon.
Originally,
I thought it was under the
CEM
Coulters.
development, but it all got sold out.
What is it? There's nothing there.
That doesn't mean the county owns it.
So originally it was CEM development, which was my uncle's and my father. Everything got sold and now to other people. And then the farmland to the northeast is my grandmother's, and she's going to quick deed me that 1 acre in that cul-de-sac area.
Okay. Do we have any remonstrators tonight for this petition? Anybody in favor or against? You look like you're moving forward. No? Okay. Anybody for or against this petition? Any remonstrators? Okay. Seeing and hearing none. Questions from the board? I just want to state that if we approve this petition, please make sure that you have your address clearly posted and maybe work with your volunteer fire department or the Westville Fire Department. Make sure they know you're there and then purchase your sign from them so that everyone is safe.
Understood.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
I guess I'm curious as to why we wouldn't go for a rezone to match the R1B that's adjacent, but.
That would be the Plan Commission.
Right, but I'm asking them why we wouldn't pursue a rezone and rather than being a 1 acre agricultural lot.
We weren't advised to do that. We just said, we were told that we needed a variance.
Okay.
I would say that even if they would have gone that route, because it's not part of the subdivision.
Right.
It lacked the road frontage. That triggered the variance part of it.
Right.
Had that been part of the subdivision, the access
would have
is
been
fine.
different,
It's
right.
administrative, basically.
Yeah, we've seen them before.
But if it's replatted, it'll be a 1 acre agriculturally zoned lot, right?
Yeah, there are numerous residential uses, ag lots in the county everywhere.
Absolutely.
I make a motion, we grant this.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Good luck. Work with the building commissioner's office for your permit.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay. Petition number 8 is a petition for variance of use and developmental standards for Stephen Hardwicke and Yvette Hardwicke, deceased sellers, and Nicholas, who's the buyer, for constructing a pole barn without a residence and operating a landscaping lawn care business. The property will be cleaned up as well. The buildings will be demolished prior to construction, and the property is located at 3026 West Small Road, LaPorte Center Township, zoned R1B. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Big chop.
Yeah.
No big chop. On small room. It's worth 50.
Attorney Volz, is notice adequate?
My apologies, Madam President. Notice is adequate.
Thank you. If you would, please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Nick Gradudo. I live at 3967 Arrowhead Lane. I'm requesting this variance to operate a small lawn and landscape business. The property, we're going to utilize it for employee reporting location, equipment storage, and a future shop with small office space. In the past 3 weeks, we've demolished the unsafe structure, removed large amounts of debris from the site, cleared overgrowth, and we cleaned the property.
Stephen, I'm sorry, Nicholas, is the sale of the property contingent on this variance? Or
We purchased
you
the
did
property.
purchase it
Yeah.
already? Okay. Are you prepared to have people come by and try to buy bait from you?
No, I am not.
No?
No.
Because I mean, even I've purchased bait there in the past, so I'm.
Recently?
No, but I am very excited to see that you're cleaning up the property and,
Thank you.
yeah, and definitely making a business, and so I applaud that. Are there any remonstrators tonight for this petition? Okay, I see somebody in the back, so if you want to have a seat, we'll hear what they have to say. Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Lars Neller, 3018 West Small Road. My wife, John, and I strongly support Nick's request for a variance to build a building and house his landscaping business. We've owned property that butts this property for over 30 years. As you mentioned, the infamous bait shop was there for years. The dwellings and the property have always been in poor condition, which has only worsened as time went on. Prior to his purchase, it was an eyesore, a health and safety hazard. The house was falling apart, junk scattered everywhere. Multiple tires and containers holding stagnant water were present, and the septic no longer worked. It was a very happy day for us when Nick announced that he and his wife were purchasing this property with plans for improvement. His in-laws have been my neighbors for 30 years, and I've known his wife since she was born, and I've known Nick since he started dating her and subsequently married her. They're both hard workers and upstanding community members. They're the type of young people our county and city need more of. He has already torn down the structure and is working on the massive job of cleaning up the property, eliminating the health and safety hazards. He wishes to build a building to house his landscaping business. I've seen his work, and I know it'll be a night and day improvement, and most likely will improve our property values. He runs a small business, so I really feel there'll be little traffic coming and going as a result. By approving this variance, we have an opportunity to make a huge difference in our neighborhood and county and also support a young entrepreneur. Finally, I wish to briefly editorialize that our county desperately needs a more strict zoning ordinance to prevent hazardous eyesores such as this property in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate you taking your time out to be in favor of our young people and encouraging their business and updating and making our properties values go back up. So I appreciate you taking the time. If you'd like to come back up, are there any questions from the board?
One comment, Madam President.
Yes.
I would actually echo Dr. Neller's statements. This particular site, I've been to court at least once to try to get it cleaned up, and we had one of the structures torn down. This gentleman's torn down another one. So out of the 300 cases, this is one of the sites. I'd already previously been to court, years working with the previous owner to try to get it cleaned up. So I'm very appreciative where this is headed.
All right. Big shoes to fill, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I make a motion, we pass this.
I have a quick question. You said they'd be building a building in the future.
Yeah.
You know a time frame on that?
I don't right now. There's some other things that we need to do to further develop the property. There's a lot of clay out there, so before we build, I need to get a dozer on site and cut probably several inches out of the existing grade that's there just to get that clay out before we build. So I don't have a certain timetable now. That's going to cost a whole lot of money to get the clay removed and to bring in millings. I'd like to make a big milling parking lot there. So
Make a motion, we pass this variance.
Second.
I have a motion and a couple of seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And
It looks
good
great.
luck. Okay. Petition number 9 this evening is a petition for variance of developmental standards for Gregory A. Moore to keep 3 shipping containers for storage. The property is located at 2125 East, 1000 North, LaPorte, Galena Township, zoned ag, and I'll wait for Attorney Volz.
Sorry about this.
All good.
Sorry. Really sorry.
Notice is that
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
If you would state your name and address for the record.
Greg Amore, 3943 East, 1000 North.
This is interesting because you own how many parcels right there?
Yeah, and I feel very underprepared and maybe a little ignorant to this process. So yeah, I have 2 right there that maybe I consider combining before I do this, and then find out how many I could get there for storage.
Okay.
With 3 acres versus acre and a half.
So the storage needs are personal storage, or
Correct. So I have a sawmill out there, and a lot of the equipment and tools that I would use for that would go into the storage containers.
And do you live on this, or is it a separate parcel? It's kind of, like I said, there were multiples with your name on them.
Correct. I don't
So-
live at any of the parcels in that area.
So you just storage?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if we have any remonstrators.
Let's see. I think you
All right.
left.
Is there anyone in favor or against this petition this evening? Anybody in favor or against petition number 9? Okay, hearing and seeing none, let's see what kind of questions the board has.
Do you already have these shipping containers?
I don't. There is one there, and like I said, a little ignorant to the process. I have a short 20-foot container there sitting next to the sawmill currently that is overflowing with it's full.
And you don't, maybe there wasn't a map on where you wanted to put them.
Yeah, that's why I'm feeling a little underprepared.
Do you kind of know where you want to put it?
I have an idea. This is the first step in the process, is getting this first, and then trying to. I have some low-lying areas, and I would have to build those up to put them on there. So if I can get them, then I'll figure out where I'm going to put them in coordinates with.
So let me ask you, Greg, since you admittedly feel you're a little unprepared.
Oh, absolutely.
And having seen the questions and things that we're going to ask you, do you feel like you'd rather table until June?
That's up to you guys.
And get a little bit better prepared, or if we vote no, then it's going to be about a year
Yeah,
before
let's table
you want to table?
Please.
It'll be a year before we can hear it again.
Let's table it.
Okay. I just want to make sure that you're comfortable with what you're asking for and
No.
what the requirements. Okay.
Make a motion to table this and come back June 16th with a site plan and a.
Yeah, have a site
plan.
plan where you want them and everything, and.
Yeah. I think that would do well all around. So all those do we have a second?
Second. Yeah, we had second.
Okay, a motion and a second to table until the June 16th meeting at 6 PM here in this room. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right. And you can give the building commissioner's office a call. They can kind of walk you through some of it as well. Thank you. Okay. Petition number 10 this evening is a petition for variance of developmental standards for Manuel and Hortensia Udave for construction of a second residence and keeping the existing home as a guest house. The property is located at 1097 West, 1000 North, LaPorte, Springfield Township, zoned ag on 21.017 acres. And I hope I did not, I hope I did okay with your names.
You did.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. And if you would then state your names and address for the record.
My name is Manuel Udave. It's 1097 West 1000 North.
Hortensia Udave, hello. Same address?
Okay.
Gary Radke Engineering, 5821 North US 35, LaPorte.
Thank you, Gary. All right, why don't you tell me the construction of a second residence, what the need for that, and we'll start with that.
Yeah, sure.
If I can just hand out a little drawing, if I could do this, showing that area that we're looking at.
Thanks. Thank you.
As you can see.
Thank you, Gary. If you want to wait until you get all of your comments on the record.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
As you see on the plan, that they own a 19 and a half acre parcel, and there's an existing house which has been there for about 20 years. They purchased this property about 6 years ago, and they are planning a new house to be on the north side of it. The road, which is on the curvy property line, is a dead-end road that they own the property on the east side of it. We got approval on a septic system for the new home, and a building permit was requested. And at that time, it was stated that because there's another home on it, that we need to approach this as a variance for a guest home.
So really, we're replacing the primary residence. Does that sound?
Yeah.
Yes.
Replace it. Not replacing it.
Not replacing, trying to build our dream home.
And there's a structure there, a residential structure that
Yes.
you're going to keep. That's where you
Yes.
live currently. Okay. Okay.
What are the plans with the existing house?
Oh, it's gonna stay.
In the mic.
That
I'm
one's,
sorry.
With it on.
It's on.
All right.
The plans with the existing house.
it's staying
It's a,
as a guest house.
As a guest house.
Let's see if we have any remonstrators for this petition. Any remonstrators for petition number 10?
over here.
Okay. Okay, if you'd like to have a seat, we'll hear what.
Sure.
Good evening.
Hi.
Would you state your name and address for the
Yeah,
record?
my name is Richard Slater. I live directly across the street at 1076 West 1000 North. Been there for 49 years. Just more so questions. I never saw any plans for where the house was to be located. So I was questioning whereabouts on the property was it to be located? How is he going to address drainage issues out there in the clay?
You said drainage issues?
Yeah, it's all clay out there, so it's really a wet area, especially this time of year. I have ditches along 1000 North and Old Buffalo Road that I border on that drain my and my existing neighbor's water away, but I don't know back there if he's got a plan, maybe a retention pond or what, but
And
just,
Richard, I think some of that too will be addressed with, if it's over an acre that they're disturbing the land, then they would work with our county MS4 office.
and then my other question was, how is this going to impact the existing business he operates on the property? Is there plans for growing the size of that business? Or is it going to stay relatively the same, or just what may happen with that? But that's the only questions that I had.
Okay, thank you. Any other remonstrators? Anybody else for or against this petition? Come on up.
I'm prepared for my own, but I am in favor of him being able to build the house there. And
I need you to state your name and address
I'm
for the
sorry,
record again.
Greg Amor.
Thank you.
3943 East 1000 North, so not far from
Sure.
that property. And all for them building their house there. And if there was any drainage or water issues that he's concerned about, we would be able to drain that. And there are ditches existing there that we could tie into.
Okay. Great,
it.
thank you.
Yep.
All right, if you guys would like to come back up, I want to hear what kind of business you run out of there. And that's on the,
Address the issues regarding the septic system. There is an existing absorption field located to the northwest of the home that we have received the health department approval to connect to. It was built a number of years ago to serve buildings, what you can see in the plan, those two white buildings, and something that it was disconnected and now it'll be used for the house. On the drainage issue, we designed the drainage away from the house. It'll be built up because there is a high groundwater, and we're going to build the home up to make sure that there's no issues with the groundwater.
okay. What kind of business do you run out of there? It's on the north side?
Well, no, I have a pole barn.
Okay.
And we have records of when I built it. I use it for my trucks. I have
Okay.
a landscaping company,
Okay,
and I'm not thinking about getting any bigger. I think this.
That's it.
Yeah.
Can't handle it.
Yeah.
all right. What other questions do we have as a board?
Did we, maybe I missed it, did we mention how large just the total proposed square footage of the new house is gonna be? Maybe I missed it.
Yeah,
You can-
sorry.
go ahead.
Total's gonna be 20, what's,
With garage.
With garage?
32.
3,050 with garage. One level.
I heard that. Okay. What other questions do we have from the board?
You said there was a existing septic, so there'll be a septic for each house. Is that what you're saying?
The septic and then the drain field, we're gonna use the existing drain field.
The guest house has been there for about 20 years. There's a septic and absorption field put in for the guest house. The new house will be in the other to the northwest, the absorption field.
It'll be two separate.
One will have their own system.
Its own septic.
And its own well?
Its own well.
Those aren't criteria for us to approve or deny.
No.
Just to clarify, I'm looking at the right, developmental standards, we're not building an accessory house. We're asking that the existing becomes the accessory, and the standards are the accessory dwellings to be no more than 33% of living area, or 800, whichever is more. So we can just kind of do the math on your own, I guess, from that, but I just want to make sure that's what we're considering, right?
That is correct, and their square footage doesn't match that, which is part of the variance.
Okay. If there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we pass this variance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Good luck. Make sure you get with the building department and work with them.
Thank you. I need this.
Madam President?
Yes.
Just a quick statement. We've made it this far. Unless any of the petitioners that remain need to use the TV, I would ask permission that we dismiss our IT and thank him for his assistance tonight, as well as our Sergeant at Arms back there. Steve and I can handle any rabble rousers.
I definitely agree with that.
Thank you. Appreciate your help.
I know this is really exciting material that you want to stay for. Mike
Thank
said
you.
he's going to stay.
Thank you, Ivan.
All right. Everybody's good. We don't need a bathroom break or anything. Because that's going to, you do. So I think we're going to pause for a quick 10-minute break and meet back in here.
Sorry, everyone.
It's 7:42.
Should be. We're getting close. We're not.
We're good. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and continue. Anna, are you ready? Okay. So thank you guys for giving us a break. Let's continue with our petition for a variance of developmental standards for Ray, deceased, and Joanne Irons for installing an interior lot line, making two lots out of 312 Island Drive, LaPorte. The interior lot line will be 10 feet from the existing garage. The new structure will be 10 feet from the rear lot line instead of the required minimum 25, and 20 feet from the front property line instead of the required 25 feet. This is getting more complicated as I go. The home will be a two-story with the garage and storage on the ground level with living space on the second floor instead of any living space on the first floor. And it is located at 312 Island Drive. Center Township, zoned R1B.
Notice is adequate.
Okay, thank you. Would you state your name and address for the record?
Mark Irons, 410 Oak Drive, LaPorte.
All right, Mark, let's just break down what, as I said, it was getting more complicated. So you're pretty much asking for a setback relief on all sides.
On the front and the back, my understanding is it's supposed to be 25 feet from the front, 25 feet from the back. These are, I'm the co-trustee of the 312 Island Drive. My uncle passed, as you stated, in January. We're wanting to subdivide that lot that it'd be facing Grayson, actually. So he owns, in that trust, property from Island Drive back to Grayson. I don't know if, do you have that map? Okay.
Yep.
So many years ago, he bought those 2 lots that are on the Grayson side. I'm looking to subdivide that, and my aunt is looking to sell me that. And Janet advised me that first let's do a variance or ask to subdivide the property, and then the setbacks are the second variance request regarding the front and the back. I think isn't the requirement 10 feet on each side
I believe it is on,
in the county? Okay.
I like to call those coastal areas.
Coastal, okay. I have no issue with the 2 sides.
So it's the front and back.
It's just the front and back. So subdividing, and then we're looking to build that similar place to transparently put our boat and our jet skis, because we live further down on the island. And the residents upstairs, if we finish that right away, if we don't, it doesn't really matter. It's more of a future in-law suite, if you will.
So there, if we were to approve this, there's no renting of that residential space.
That's not our current plan, no.
So
If we did have to rent it 5 years from now or 10 years from now.
you would have to come back in front of us.
To get a rental
Yep.
approval or whatever? Okay, I wasn't aware
Where
of that.
it would, if it's part of our motion to have no rental of it and no further subdividing, then those stay with the parcel.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so let me just clarify in plain English here.
Yep.
The portion that is off of Grayson Road is what you want to parcel off.
Yeah, originally those were 2 40-foot lots by somewhere close to 90 feet. My uncle built that garage in 92, I believe, and he put it a couple of feet into those lots.
So you want, that's the part you want to section off into a separate parcel.
Right.
And then the request for the setbacks is on that larger piece.
Correct, on the 40 by roughly 90 feet.
Right. Have you had a surveyor look at this at all?
We
Just out of curiosity.
had a surveyor come out and he looked at it and he said that he can do that, but the cost was $5,000. So I wanted to find out first whether
Sure.
you all would approve it.
Yeah,
before we
that's a
spent
lot
the
of money.
$5,000.
Let's see if we have any remonstrators. Anybody for or against this petition? Very good. If you'll have a seat, we'll hear from the remonstrators. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Aaron Johnson. I have a home at 339 Oak Drive, LaPorte on the island. And I just want to speak up and say I support what he's trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other remonstrators? For or against? Last call for remonstrators. Hearing and seeing none. Let's see what kind of questions we have from a board and perhaps our attorney. No questions from you? Okay, what about you guys? Tony, do you have any questions?
Not specifically.
Your new structure will
Specifically,
be
no.
10 feet from the property line?
On the left.
On the rear?
On the 10 feet from the proposed property line, so 20 feet back from that existing garage that faces island.
And so there'll be 20 feet between them?
Correct.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
And, I mean, in all honesty, this is a plan I picked because I had a lot of space on the ground floor. If, it could get smaller, but I just want to make sure that that's what the boundaries could be, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Mike, do you have anything to add to this?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, well, if there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve this variance as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Aye. I would just say that when the motion is passed, 4-1, and work with the building commissioner's office, and I would definitely work with him and our real estate office and when you do the split.
The subdivide piece?
Yes, when you split that parcel off.
Okay.
From a legal perspective, with regards to the specific findings and conclusions, it's going to be very, very specific with regards to where the setbacks are coming from and where they're going.
Which one is front and
Which is considered, and that can be used then for future purposes with regards to real estate and the building commissioner's office as well. So there's just going to need to be quite a bit of communication here with regards to the specific language that will be included in this so that you don't encounter any issues moving forward.
Okay. Understood.
The new parcel will have an address on it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good luck.
All right, thank you.
No, that'll be like the first thing he has to do, basically.
Okay. I'm going to apologize to you guys. I have like 3 agendas here and I have all kinds of packets. Petition number 12 this evening is a variance of developmental standards for Harry Steinhagen to split a 2-acre parcel. The house will be split off of 3782 West, US 20, and will be 0.6 acres, less than the minimum requirement of 1 acre. The rest of the 2 acres will be added to 3792 West, US 20. LaPorte and both properties are located in Springfield Township, zoned R1B.
Madam President, the only thing we were waiting for was affidavit of publication, and that was received. So notice is adequate.
Very good. Good evening. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
Certainly. Good evening. Harry Steinhagen, 3792 West US Highway 20, LaPorte.
Harry, didn't we just do that? Did we just work on property south of you right here? Did you have, no? Okay.
Not me.
Losing my mind. Okay.
If I have more property, please let me know.
I definitely will. I'm sure it's an error on my part. Okay, so you want to split this parcel into 2,
Yes.
and we're going to leave one of them with 0.6 acres.
Yes, the home up front, I would like to sell off, and I'm splitting it so that it's separate from the buildings in the back. The buildings in the back will attach to my property. I grew up on that property. My parents had that property since 1970. And while I'm not thrilled about selling the house, I need to sell the house for the proceeds to be able to finalize my divorce.
I get that.
And it does leave a nice big front yard for the home, a nice side yard, and a backyard. And
So you're going to keep a sliver on the side there that will lead to your property? You're going to have no road frontage at all for the rest of your property?
I own the property beside it.
There is.
Okay.
I own 7.34 acres beside it.
What is the address of that?
That's the 3792 West US 20.
I get it. The drawing is
It's immediately west.
fleeting.
If you'd like, I could approach and show
Oh, 3782 is what you want to
Yes.
split off.
Yes.
Okay. I had it backwards. I apologize. Yeah.
And you own the property to the west?
Yes.
you. Yes, 3792. I own that and the property behind
Okay.
3782.
So my question is still relevant. Are you sell off 3782?
Just, yes, the front part,
Split
yes.
that and so then you're going to have access to 3792 and the property together.
Yes, the driveway for 3792 also goes behind the outbuildings and services both outbuildings. We really don't use the driveway that goes in front anymore.
So your access will be off of 3792. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry that was so confusing.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay. The road frontage for 3782, the home, how much is that?
It's approximately 150 feet.
Okay. And you have at least that on the property to the west,
To be honest, I'm not sure. It might be.
or it looks like, yeah.
Might be on that drawing.
Okay. Let's see if we have any remonstrators, shall we? Are there any remonstrators for this petition? Anybody for or against this petition?
I'll be honest, if I knew you could bring people for, I'd have brought a half a dozen.
You know, it always makes me feel a little bit better to have someone in favor too, because we hear so much negativity that it's nice to see someone in favor of a petition.
I personally have spoke to most of my neighbors that abut my property, and they all verbally have said that they are. I know that's hearsay.
And I'm sure they signed their notice that they received it, so they're aware of it. And if they were against it, they would have come and let us know. So that's
Absolutely.
still a good sign. Okay. Any remonstrators for Harry? Okay, hearing and seeing none, what kind of questions do we have from the board?
Pretty simple.
Yeah, it seems I drive past there every day almost, so.
Okay, so my only comment then is going to be that if we pass this, you want to make sure that both addresses are clearly visible from the highway, marked, and for safety reasons. Okay,
They are, and they do have the
Very good.
additional signage on them.
perfect, thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Second.
Do we have just a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Somebody's getting tired.
I am
Second.
tired.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve petition number 12. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right, good luck. Work with the building commissioner's office, and they can help you through the process.
And thank you all.
Thank
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay. Petition number 13 is a petition of variance of developmental standards for Emery Investments to create 2 parcels out of 29 acres. The first parcel will be plus or minus 16.05 acres and 70.34 feet of road frontage instead of the minimum required 200 feet. Parcel number 2 will be plus or minus 14.42 acres with 200 feet of road frontage, and the property is located at 3522 South State Road 104, LaPorte, Pleasant Township, zoned M1, 29 acres. Attorney Volz.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. Would you state your name and address for the record, and thank you for your patience.
Nathan Flickner, Whiteman, representing the petitioner. This property, we're just looking to split off really for tax purposes. They were just trying to separate the business there, and we don't have enough road frontage. We got 270 feet across the front there, so we were trying to leave 200 on one and leave the 70 foot on the other.
What is the plan for the 2 parcels?
Nothing's changing. Business will still operate. They ship out of the one side.
Okay,
And
yep.
manufacture out the other side. So he just wanted to maintain the rail access on the distribution side. But the entrance will stay the same.
Okay. No additional fires or anything?
No, not yet. I can't promise anything.
Okay. Okay, let's see if we have any remonstrators. Is there anybody for or against this petition? Anybody at all? For or against petition number 13? Last call for remonstrators. Okay. Hearing and seeing no remonstrators, what kind of questions do we have as a board?
I guess I'll kick it off. There's existing cleanup operations going on out there?
I believe those have been completed in April.
Okay. Has there been documentation provided from EPA?
I just
clearance letter for
I
any of
just
that?
read it off their website.
Okay.
It's posted on there.
Madam President, I've not been notified to my knowledge, the EPA cleanup is still going on.
Okay.
We've gotten no other information from the owners. This is a problem site.
Oh, absolutely.
So is there two businesses in there currently? What,
No, it's just.
said it's for tax purposes, so what is the?
Emory Investments is trying to break off from the current president or CEO is currently incarcerated. So he's just trying to be able to still operate and separate himself and to be able to continue while somebody's in prison, because that's who's running it now. So he's trying to separate himself from that. And he is working with the EPA, and they're in there we're in there cleaning up, and they were assisting.
So we could make a motion, and it could be contingent on providing the documentation to our building commissioner's office. I feel like any motion we would make in favor would be conditional. Do you agree with that, Mike?
I'm not in favor of granting this at all.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so what kind of questions do you guys have, if any? Pleasure of the board.
Madam President, from a legal perspective, to place contingencies on a motion that would then be passed or could be passed is rife with possibilities of noncompliance, which would then render the decision moot. It would be my recommendation from a legal perspective that there be a period of time allowed for this petition to comply or otherwise provide more information based upon the questions that were raised by this board to ensure that we are not, or I'm sorry, that this board is not stepping on somebody else's toes with a much higher level of enforcement authority to then further hamstring what the petitioner's intentions are. So by making a motion with conditions and approving it, it may wind up in the long run being a worse outcome than what it would be to simply table it for 1 month. Again, from a legal perspective only, not examining the merits of the petition, but rather, it is my opinion, from a legal perspective, you don't have all the information available to you to make a decision, and then to make a decision with contingencies would have the same effect and purpose, or of same effect and result of having it tabled for 1 month to allow these loose ends to be cleaned up.
Nathan, how do you feel about tabling for a month? I can move you up in the agenda.
Oh, there we go. Sold. Let's table it.
I think that's a good idea. What do you guys think as a board?
I would agree. Make a motion. To make a motion
Can I
to
ask a
table it.
question before?
Yes.
What information are we tabling?
You're going to work with the building commissioner's office.
And I'll go on the record. I want to know directly from the EPA, is the cleanup concluded? Are they planning on putting a lien on the property to recover the costs included with that? I mean, the name of this petitioner is the petitioner that petitioned the first time.
Right.
And we had all the
It's in
problems.
the Fed. Yeah. Okay, so do we have a motion yet?
We had half of a motion.
Half of one. So I would, I'm going to suggest that in our motion, we request correspondence be sent so that they are aware of all the requirements that you would like, Mike. And then we'll table it.
I guess that's, we still don't have a motion. There's currently one business operating on that property.
Currently, yes.
What is that business?
It's like a glycerin. I'm not sure.
They reclaim.
They create
Ketchup
chemicals out of
packets.
waste.
And they're still operating?
Yes.
Okay. There's no other businesses?
No, it's all just one piece of property, one business operation.
It's neither here nor there, I guess.
Right.
I'll make a motion that we table this, work with Mike's office, give him every piece of documentation he asked for, and if not, we go from there.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to table, and if the June meeting is too early for you, again, request, we can go out further and send correspondence with the requirements. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. And thank you again for your patience this evening. Petition number 14 is for a variance of developmental standards for Robert and Connie DeNecco for construction of a second dwelling to care for elderly parents. The home will be no more than 2,000 feet rather than the maximum size of 800 feet. The property is located at 952 North, 1150 West, Michigan City, Cool Spring Township, zoned ag on 10 acres.
Thank you so much.
The notice is adequate.
Thank you. If you would state your name and addresses for the record.
My name is Connie Donahoe, 952 North, 1150 West, Michigan City, Indiana.
Okay.
Robert Donahoe, 0952 North, 1150 West.
I apologize for my pronunciation of your name. So let's talk about, you're going to construct a second home.
Our daughter and her fiance would like to build a home on the property, and we would have our home.
So you're going to stay in the existing home?
Yes.
Right.
And the new house will be no more than 2,000 square feet? Okay. Do we have any remonstrators for this petition? Anybody for or against it? Any remonstrators? And final call. Hearing and seeing no remonstrators, what kind of questions do we have?
Where is this house going to go in relationship to your buildings?
We have 10 acres, and our house sets up toward the front off of 100 North, and the house that they'd like to build would go, I think, 600 feet.
I think they have a drawing.
You have a drawing there. I believe it's 600 feet off the road toward the back.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So it'll be to the north of your house?
Yeah.
Don't ask me north south.
In the back.
Okay.
Well, they're going to tear that.
Oh,
Right
Okay.
there. They're going to tear that,
Okay.
and they're going to put back.
Thank you.
What kind of additional questions do we have? Tony?
So normally we would say to subdivide that as an easement, correct, for the driveway back and all of that? On the drawing here,
Since it's the same parcel,
There's no easement necessary.
or make an easement, I guess, then that, no?
They're not splitting the parcel, so it's all one parcel, so access will still be. I might, yeah. Yeah.
But it looks like we'll have 2 driveways is what you're proposing, right?
Or is that driveway the one that's going to the old house that's going to be tore down?
Yeah, that's the old.
So there's already 2 driveways.
Okay, for the record, if you're going to talk, you need to come up and give us your name and address, please.
Dane Ranky, 207 Plain Street, Westville.
Are you
He's going to be the son-in-law.
You're going to be the son-in-law?
Yes.
So what's going to happen, though, is you can have 2 entrances. You're going to have 2 addresses. So you want to make sure that those addresses are clearly visible. Again, you heard me say it earlier. Talk with your township fire department if you can, and make sure that they know you have 2 there. If you have medical conditions or anything, should we approve it?
But they do that. So.
Anything else? If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve this variance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Same sign. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Son-in-law, good luck. All right. The last one, petition for a variance of developmental standards for Aaron Johnson and Megan Johnson to construct a 2-story with a garage on the first floor and living quarters on the second floor and a 1-story garage.
I grabbed an extra one.
The front lot setback of 10 feet from 25 feet, a rear lot deviation from waterway setback of 12 feet, and the property is located 100 yards east of the intersection of Oak Drive and Island Drive. Center Township, zoned R1B.
Good evening, Madam Chairman. My name is Ralph Howes, attorney.
Hold on, let's see what Andrew says.
Notice is adequate.
Very good. All right, Attorney Ralph Howes.
Yeah, Howes and Howes. I thought when I was here last October, I would ever be back here again, but here I am.
Well, we're glad to have you, Ralph.
Well, thank you. So Mr. Johnson's plans have changed since we were here in October, driven by the acquisition of 4 lots, one of which is a lake frontage lot directly across the street. And then the lot 16, which was the lot that we were here for in October, that he received variances for. He now has lot 17, 18, and 19. And as a consequence, his plans have changed. He has not done anything with respect to building on lot 16. I know he has things that he wants to say, and he's probably more eloquent than I am, so I'll be brief. It looks like from what the board is needing to consider is actually less in the way of requests for variances than we had presented in lot 16. We now we need no side lot variances. The front variance we're requesting is 10 feet, but keep in mind there is already a 10-foot right-of-way, so coupled with the that 10 feet, and he really is down to next to nothing in the way of a front.
Right.
And it seems to be a commonality with virtually all of the petitions you're hearing from out on the island. They're driven by the waterway setback. Should he have to comply with a 50-foot setback and the standard front lot setback, I think that leaves him with 5 feet to build on. So he's requesting, I believe it's 10, 12, what is it here? Yeah, front, yeah, 10-foot variance in the front. That would give him 20 when you couple it with the existing right-of-way, and rear waterway 12 feet. And with that, would you allow Mr. Johnson to continue the presentation?
Sure.
Thank you.
That beautiful green water.
Okay, normally I give 3 minutes for this, so.
Well, good evening. Aaron Johnson, the petitioner, and hopefully this is Ralph's last time being here. Thank you to the BZA for the opportunity. Good evening. Sorry for such a long night. My name is Aaron Johnson. My current home is at 339 Oak Drive. I've lived and owned houses on Pine Lake for 37 years. This is the third home I'm trying to build on Pine Lake. I'm here tonight asking for less of a variance than what was previously requested and approved. In October, I came before you and I had a 50-foot lot, and I requested a 12-foot on the back, 10-foot on the front, plus the 10-foot easement, meaning I would have been 20 feet off the road, as Ralph explained. And I also asked for 7-foot setbacks on both sides. I no longer need those setbacks. This would have allowed me to build a 3-car garage on the main level with the living quarters in my home on the second level, and this board approved it in October. Since then, my neighbor to the west approached me to sell his property. I recently closed and bought 4 empty lots. And so tonight, I'm requesting approvals for the exact same front and back setbacks of 10 feet and 12 feet respectively. 20 feet from the road is what you've previously approved. I do not need a side setback. I've hired Brian Ford to build the home, one of the best craftsmen in LaPorte. I've counted, there are 108 homes on the island. I went out with a laser and measured all of them. There are 32 of those 108 homes are less than 15 feet from the edge of the road, the closest of which is 4 feet from the edge of the road. I will be 20 feet. There are 7 homes located on the same pond that we're on. Every single one of them is closer than the 50-foot setback requirement. So my proposed home is consistent with the neighborhood, and this is my dream home that I'm planning to retire in. I appreciate your consideration of the request. There are also 4 letters of support that remonstrators have submitted, including the neighbor to the west as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any remonstrators for this petition? Any remonstrators for or against? Come on. State your name and address for the record, please.
Christopher Willoughby, Brady Nelson and Janes here on behalf of my client Denny Folis, who resides at 314 Oak Drive, to remonstrate against this petition. While I understand there have been previous variances granted for this owner, as well as maybe other properties, and then some that were done before current administrations. Unfortunately, all we heard tonight was, we want this, and you previously approved something. However, you have legal standards that you have to follow, and not one has been established tonight. You've received no proof, no evidence in the record, other than they want to build this house and build my dream house, and we bought more lots. And I understand that, and I empathize with that, but the petitioner has the burden, not my client. My client is a neighbor who objects to this petition. Mr. House and his client, and I have, again, the utmost respect for Mr. House, but they have the obligation before you. You have to sift through and make a decision and make findings to decisions, and if they don't provide you with that evidence, you cannot approve what they seek. I would like to point out some deficiencies with their filing. One, with their site plan, and some of these are varying degrees, but I'm making my record. Site plan under the BZA's procedures does not, it is not in compliance with the BZA's adopted procedures because it doesn't show the well, doesn't show driveways, or proposed boundaries with all of the approximate measurements. It shows some of them, so there's a deficiency in the site plan. At least what was provided to us when we requested that, and there's no reason for me to believe I didn't receive what you have. The owners did not sign the petition, and there's no power of attorney signed. Mr. House signed it, and again, I present that to you. Take it for what you will. I believe that's a technicality. Sure, they can fix that, but again, I'm pointing out as I go through my review. Another one that I think is fairly significant is the notice of petition, and I think it's artful that they present tonight. Well, there's an artful description in the petition that they seek to construct a 2-story with a garage. They've asked in their petition and in their notice to build a garage with living quarters, and there's a distinction there. This isn't a single-family home. This is either an accessory building or it is an accessory dwelling unit. And that takes us in a whole new ballgame because accessory dwelling units are accessory structures. You get one additional that's detached, and that can even be across the street if it's within the appropriate distance, but they get one, and they need to make sure that that complies. However, if there's living space, now we have an accessory dwelling unit, which requires, it is allowed in this zoning, but it requires a special exception. And the standards that have been cited in this petition, I'm sure they're probably carryovers from that Lot 16. However, they've not established, right, whether there's what hardship. He had Lot 16. They bought additional ones buying into this, and you can't create your own hardship. They knew what they were getting into, and they can build and use that. They want to build their dream home. They don't need to. They can build from their other properties an accessory building. They cannot build an accessory dwelling unit without a special exception. I would also like to, so the petition, in the petition, or sorry, in the notice, they have asked for, or sorry, what was published is that they were asking for, sorry, I have this distinction somewhere. In their petition, they are asking for the rear lot deviation to 12 feet and the front to 10 feet. In their actual notice of publication, they ask for 10 feet and 25 feet. And so there's a material, I don't want to say misrepresentation because I don't want to insinuate that Mr. Hauser or his client has done anything underhanded, but they don't match. And what was noticed to the public is something significantly different. So the bottom line is, for your consideration, under section 1602 of the JZO, residential accessory buildings, detached, they're allowed, but only one. Under section 3102, a detached garage is allowed, but an accessory building is also considered a non-paying guest house. Again, what is this thing? The way that it's described in their petition is that it is a garage with living quarters. And that's what takes us to the requirement for a special exception, which again is permitted, provided they meet strict criteria, and there's much more that they have to show and prove to you for approval of that special exception. So with that, we would ask that you deny this petition. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Questions from the board?
Andrew, do you think that we should table this and ask for anything to be, paperwork to be redone?
Not until I ask you to.
The notice of public hearing indicates specifically for developmental standards variance for front setback to 15 feet, wetland setback to 25 feet for the following described property. The petition does not contain that language that I can see.
It's 10 feet.
There are discrepancies with regards to, they refer to a waterway setback and not a, again, specifically as contained in the notice, a wetland setback. So there is a discrepancy with regard, I mean, certainly the notice date was accurate and adequate. However, the notice of public hearing language
does not match
dissimilar from the petition. So with that being said, again, from a procedural standpoint, notice was adequate for the timing. However, the language in the notice of public hearing as published in the Westville Indicator does not match the petition.
What would you like? As a
I think,
re-advertise?
We tabled.
yeah, me personally, I think we should table it. They already have a lawyer, so obviously they're going to fight it, so we want it as clean as possible. So I make a motion to table it till the 16th of June meeting. Fix those changes, work with
Re-advertise.
Mike and Andrew, re-advertise and do all the necessary steps to make sure all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Ralph, you may have to come back.
Sorry.
Poor Jonathan.
He's probably not going to be here then. We'll get John.
Yeah. Okay, so are you good with the tabling? And if we can get somebody to the record, to the microphone, so we can have it on, if I can get one of you to the microphone so we can get it on record.
Yes. Yes.
You're good with tabling?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So I have a motion and a second to table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll see you in June.
You have a motion for adjournment.
Mike, new business?
Actually,
We never did approve them.
Approve the old minutes.
okay, so that is my error. I did not approve the meeting minutes.
We can do that now, right?
Make a
can do that now.
motion to approve the prior meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I have some, I would like, since Rita is here from our Plan Commission as well, and several members that sit on the Plan Commission, I just want to reiterate again that I hope that we could tighten up the zoning ordinance on storage containers, and specifically setbacks in water, right? The island, Hudson Lake, all those lake areas, we are inundated with this kind of petition, and I would like to see that addressed a little bit differently in the zoning ordinance so that it isn't in front of us all the time.
There's actually a few things I'd like to add to the zoning ordinance
Okay.
I've talked to Mike about.
And tiny homes was my last one.
Yeah, that is actually one of the things we've been working on, some things on the planning. Yeah, and the comprehensive plan, so I've been told to kind of see where that lies.
Great.
I agree, and I've discussed this at the Plan Commission, specifically stuff in Article 14 where I want to see language cleaned up, where it addresses sand mining and other things that should be tweaked and clarified. And we're currently doing the comp plan, so typically after that, the JZO would follow.
And again, since we have some other offices represented, I would love to see that Mike's office gets staffed to the point where we can do enforcement. I've been on this board a long time, and enforcement is the absolute #1 problem in the county. We're reactive, even if that. So all the things that we fight and bicker about, if we could get somebody in Mike's office, I think that would be outstanding and certainly helpful to you.
Yeah, I would add to that we had a code enforcement committee. The elected officials that were on that are no longer in office, but I think we spent a couple of years
Yeah, we need to get
over
you
that.
the
And
support you need.
we had a draft ordinance. We had funding requirements. We had a magistrate or hearing officer. Everything was spelled out. It was given to the county attorney. It basically stalled because there isn't the money to fund it. So we work with old ordinances and Band-Aids and piecemeal what we've got, and we have
Well, and
different.
we can see how that's not working for us,
Yeah,
this Johnson
yeah.
Road petition. So hopefully that's something we can look at going forward. Is there any new business? Any other business, old business?
I just want to thank everyone on this board, our new attorney, the staff in my office, and the public for the roller coaster ride that we've all been on over the last 90 to 120 days. It's been pretty chaotic and triaged, and it's affected all of us. New board members, old board members, the people that have been waiting to hear their petitions heard for 90 days, staff in the office, our new attorney, our prior attorney. So thank you to everybody for what you've endured over the last.
Do you have, these are from your office?
Yes, while I did reproduce those, the contents were actually produced by the Indiana Planning Association.
Okay.
And it covers both Plan Commission and BZA. It's not related to any of the fiascos that we have going on, but it is related to the turnover that we've had in our attorney slot, our staff, our board, both boards. So I had asked our previous attorney to schedule a training session for the boards, and I think he was going to do that, and he's no longer with us. So that's my way of trying to get us unified and consistent in our approach.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike, as well as your office, your staff.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing further,
Make a motion to adjourn.
and a second, all those in favor to adjourn? Aye.
Aye.